Hey, this is David. Wanted to shoot over a video here that talks a little bit about lenders. Uh, Lending is one of those topics that it doesn't really get a lot of focus. It's not the fun, sexy part of the process, but it is super, super important. I've seen really, really good lenders in good situations where they've made a deal work. I've seen situations where bad lenders have come in and totally blown up a deal. So it's definitely one of those things where you want to get your ducks in a row, you want to pick a good lender, and you want to make sure that you're prepped and ready to go ahead of time. So here's the thing that I often let people know, and is a little bit of a surprise to them, is that a lender can either make you more or sometimes less competitive in a situation. And when I say that, there are a lot of different nuances that a lender can bring to the table, and there are different things to look for. But here's probably three things that you should look for when you're chatting with a lender. Okay. Number one is the lender should be local and boutique. And by that, I mean local in the sense that the lender is based here in your local market. Okay. They understand what's going on. They work with several agents. If a top agent calls them, your lender's going to know who they are. They're going to understand their processes and that kind of stuff. I cannot tell you how many times I've submitted an offer for a client, and the first question out of the seller's agent hand is, or seller's agent mouth, excuse me, is, where is the lender based? And are they local or are they out of state? And if you're out of state, a lot of times agents don't want to deal with it. So that's the local piece. The boutique piece is really, really interesting. It also deals with the red tape that you're going to have to deal with and all that kind of stuff when we're talking about a boutique mortgage industry versus a really, really, really big lending institution. Think about like big banks and all that kind of stuff. If you think about it from that standpoint, a big bank gets thousands of mortgages in every single month, right? They get them in and they get them out, and they want every single one of these mortgages to fit their box, their criteria. And they don't want to move that box. They don't want to flex. They don't want to change things for just one of 10,000 loans. That's not worth their time. But a boutique, smaller lender is much more willing to say, yeah, if you're one of 25 loans in our pool of loans for this month, we're more than happy to flex things a little bit or try to be creative to solve some problems and all that kind of stuff. So we find that when very crazy nuances come up, which happen with the most qualified buyers, it doesn't really matter how qualified you are. We have lots of different funky things that can come up. That having a boutique lender can solve those problems much more easily and is willing to solve them a lot more easily than some of the big national banks. So that would be one. So find somebody that's local and boutique. Okay, number two, closing timelines. Any lender that is worth their salt right now should be able to close in around 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more. I've had some awesome gangbuster lenders that recently we've been able to close in 10 to 14 days. It's crazy. You're moving really, really fast, but that is a huge differentiator in the offer situation where you can bring in this tool of closing really, really fast, and it doesn't cost you any money. You're going to just close faster than the other offer that's on the table. So that's a big thing, is asking lenders, hey, how quickly can you close as soon as you get a signed contract from me and my agent? So, and then the last one, this is really simple, but it still isn't something that's mainstream for lenders, is, are you available on evenings and weekends? Or at least is somebody on your team available on evenings and weekends? There are a lot of lenders, I call them like the 9 to 5, Monday through Friday lenders, where they work, and 5 o'clock on Friday, they're out of the office and they don't return phone calls. They're not answering emails, all that kind of stuff. And as you can imagine, a lot of times making an offer on the evenings or weekends and that kind of stuff. And if you don't have the lender, number one, to refer to answer some of your questions, but probably just as importantly, to call the sellers, to sell you and your offer to the listing agent, and to talk about why you are such a good and bona fide buyer that they should be working with, that is a huge, huge piece that is missed if your lender is not willing and able to take those phone calls on the weekends. So those would be my three things. Number one, local and boutique lender. Okay. Number two, quick closing around 2 weeks or so. And number three, Are they available on evenings or weekends, or at least is somebody on their team available? So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we will chat soon. Cheers.